Guys, I have to be honest, my trepidations were growing concerning the Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. Sometimes things like this in the NFL, going down to the wire for the number 1 seed. The Buffalo Bills ended up beating the Lions, and all that remains on their schedule is the Patriots, the Jets, and the Patriots. So likely they will win out if they need to win out, meaning the Kansas City Chiefs have to win 2 more games. And I was really hoping that the final week of the season, week 18, the Kansas City Chiefs could partially rest starters. This team has not had a bye week since week 6. This team is banged up. They've been banged up the entire season, and Patrick Mahomes just got his seasonal ankle injury. The Texans are a dangerous team, and they have an explosive offense. They have a defense that can really shut people down at times. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs have some things that they will be able to do against said defense, and I think that the Kansas City Chiefs have things that they can do to limit said offense. But guys, we got a gift. Manna is flowing from the heavens. A real quick reminder, guys, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, so if you are a Chiefs fan and are not subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button, because I drop Kansas City Chiefs news, analysis, and opinion daily here on the channel. Let's get into the article here. In an article titled, Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes Receive Odd Warning from Texans, subtitled, The Kansas City Chiefs and quarterback Patrick Mahomes received an odd warning from Houston Texans defender Tim Settle Jr. This is from Athlon Sports, written by Colin Miller. The article states this: the Kansas City Chiefs are just days away from hosting the Houston Texans on Saturday on a short week. Always tough on a short week in the NFL. Heading into the matchup, the main question many Chiefs fans are wondering is if quarterback Patrick Mahomes will be taking the field after suffering an ankle injury last week against the Cleveland Browns. I think there was a chance that perhaps that would not have been the case, that perhaps at some point the contemplations as to whether or not Carson Wentz should quarterback the Kansas City Chiefs this coming Saturday probably went through heads at Arrowhead, one Arrowhead Drive. However, something came up, and no longer will that be the case. There's no chance that will be the case. The article continues, although the Chiefs have yet to give a confident answer in his status, Mahomes was a full participant on both Tuesday and Wednesday in practice. The 9-5 Texans, who clinched the AFC South last week, clearly took notice of Mahomes' injury, especially defensive tackle Tim Settle Jr., who issued an odd warning to Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on Wednesday. Guys, Christmas came early in the form of Santa Claus Tim Settle Jr. getting stuck in the chimney. Tim Settle said, "This is the top team in the league right now. Sounds good so far. But this O-line definitely has their struggles, and I feel like we can take advantage of that." A little bit disrespectful. Settle said Settle, "We've got an elite D-line." So a little bit disrespectful so far, but nothing out of line. Pat's a little banged up, so I don't know if he's going to play or not, but I hope he's mobile enough because we're coming to Arrowhead. Pat better make good decisions. I ain't making no threats. I'm making promises. We've got promises from Tim Settle Jr. You might be asking yourself, who? That's okay. So is everyone else. This is Settle's first season on the Texans after spending the last 2 years on the Bills, who are plenty familiar with the Chiefs. However, Settle himself has only recorded 4 combined tackles in 4 career appearances against Kansas City. That's right, that guy. Mahomes has also played well when he's faced Houston throughout his career. In 4 starts, he's 3-1 with 1,141 passing yards, 13 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. And if that's the Patrick Mahomes that we get against the Texans, it's not going to matter, Timmy. And now that he's been threatened, if he's healthy enough to play, our feeling is he might play well again. That's the end of the article, but I want it to be known that the Haters Ball was this past weekend, and we have paparazzi images of Petty LaVon. For anyone who doesn't know, there's Patrick Mahomes, and there is his Superman alter ego, Petty LaVon, who, when push comes to shove and someone is disrespectful, takes off the football jersey, and underneath there is his Haters Ball uniform, and he is very, very petty. So we have some pictures of him rolling in. Petty LaVon at the Haters Ball. Petty LaVon accepting an award at the Haters Ball. And Petty LaVon, shortly after the ceremony, being told about Tim Settle's comments. We also have a live look at the last player who talked smack about the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the last. Here we have young Tyreek Hill not enjoying his time in Miami, and another look. How sad. Grok is amazing if you have not used the Twitter/X AI platform. Apparently it's free now, and we can't forget the Raiders this past offseason had some things to say as well, and here's a live look at their fan base. An unfortunate series of events. Somehow they're the one team in the AFC West that will absolutely not be in the playoffs. Surprise. It's been 20 years since the Raiders won the AFC West, and I don't see that changing anytime particularly soon. But let's talk about this game versus the Texans. I'm very proud of those Petty LaVon images, by the way. Can you imagine his acceptance speeches? I mean, I'm just here to thank all you who hated so hard. I throw the ball, and you guys hate. Anyway, C.J. Stroud has been sacked 45 times this season. There's only 17 games in the entire season. They haven't played all 17 of them. To have been sacked 45 times is excessive. Patrick Mahomes has some struggles with being sacked this season. That much is true. Who do you trust against the blitz, Patrick Mahomes or C.J. Stroud? In fact, we have a stat on just that. Of 32 quarterbacks who qualified, Stroud ranks 31st in DVOA against the blitz. I would like to introduce you to the specter of Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo is going to go after that young man, and guess who had better be prepared? Patrick Mahomes is going to be prepared. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are absolutely thrilled that someone was talking so much smack. Here's another coinkydink. Hollywood Brown might be back for this game. That would be fun. Now, on this channel the past 2 years, one of the things that has been almost maddening from this end of the microphone is having to watch the Chiefs on Sunday and try to convince myself to talk about how they're going to be okay in the playoffs, because I truly believed it, but I had nothing to show to say, yeah. Think back to that 2022 season where they won the Super Bowl. Think back to that 2023 season, when they won the Super Bowl. Those teams during the regular season looked nothing like the Kansas City Chiefs' other playoff appearances. They were not the dominant offense that we were used to watching here in Kansas City. It did not feel Sunday to Sunday that we really had a chance to dominate. Won a lot of games. 2023, they won the fewest games of the Patrick Mahomes tenure. This season, however, they are on pace to win the most games of the Patrick Mahomes tenure, the Patrick Mahomes era. And the whole time, I knew they have Patrick Mahomes. They have Andy Reid. The Super Bowl is a realistic possibility, but it was hard to make the pieces fit. Well, earlier this week, there was an article, or it was a YouTube video on which I made a YouTube video where a channel had examined what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. And they pulled up every AFC playoff team. Every AFC playoff team had some portion, some important metric of their team, be it offense or defense or both, that was ranked 21st in the NFL or lower. All of them, except the Kansas City Chiefs. That is not an accident. It is very difficult to look at a team and understand, yeah, they're a little bit good everywhere. They're not bad anywhere, because football is so dynamic a sport that when a team's just pretty good everywhere, sometimes it feels like they're getting their butt whooped. But the Kansas City Chiefs kept coming up on the positive end of things. The Kansas City Chiefs kept winning these games. Now, here's why I talk about all of that in this video. For a team like this, I think that sometimes the biggest threat is not the opponent. The biggest threat is the threat within, the enemy within, the specter of not being motivated. There are 53 guys on that active roster. If even one of them has just a terrible week in practice, it has a ripple effect through all 53 guys for 60 minutes of NFL football, and sometimes that's just enough for one bounce to go the wrong way and the other team wins. That has not been the case this season. Not yet. The Bills game happened, but that was just a game they kind of got outplayed. The Bills won, hats off to them. It's the NFL. Those things happen. Losses will occur. Where we don't see the Kansas City Chiefs lose too terribly often is in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you can kind of count on Patrick Mahomes and company to be on point. Why? Well, the playoffs have immediate consequence. The playoffs are where all of these players, every man among them, is basing his legacy. You're a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. You get to build a legacy in the playoffs. Legacies in the playoffs. Guys, you can go to the Hall of Fame just because of what you did in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Don't believe me, that's fine. Franco Harris is in the Hall of Fame kind of on one plate. Very solid back. Very good back. I don't know that you would look at his entire career and think that's a definitive Hall of Famer. Joe Namath, not the greatest stats in the world. Great in the playoffs. Great in the media. It's a Hall of Famer. You can make it to the NFL Hall of Fame from your actions in the playoffs. This team is a legacy team. Every man among them is shooting for legacy. Guys, you get to the Hall of Fame, you can retire and then just do circuits of signing cards and make a living that way. Go to sports shows, make a living that way. Go to events where you charge $20 for a picture, make a living that way. You can do it. If you have HOF after your name, the playoffs are about immediacy. There is immediate legacy available. You know where else that type of legacy happens, or at least that type of immediate ego payoff? It's in rivalry games. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs haven't been in a real rivalry game in quite some time. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have many real rivals. The Bills, maybe. The Bengals, kind of. Not the Broncos. Not the Chargers, not now. Certainly not the Raiders. But when someone talks smack in the media, whoop-de-doo. It's a pop-up rivalry. This team loves that sort of thing. And guys, if there's one player who thrives on that sort of thing, it's Petty Levon. That's all I have for this show. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Kansas City Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And I hope to have you back for the next one.